Welcome back to 2 Cents Unfiltered, where we break down the noise, call out the nonsense, and give it to you straight. I'm your host, Carrie, and today we're diving headfirst into one of the biggest political deceptions of our time, the Russia collusion hoax. Now, I know that phrase alone ruffles feathers. Some folks are still clutching their pearls over the idea that the 2016 Trump campaign colluded with Russia to steal the election. But here's the thing. After years of investigations, millions of taxpayer dollars, and wall-to-wall media hysteria, we now know it was all smoke and mirrors. So let's pull back the curtain and expose the truth. Segment 1. The birth of a narrative. Let's rewind to 2016. Donald Trump shocks the world and wins the presidency. Hillary Clinton loses, and the political establishment goes into full-blown panic. Within days, whispers of Russian interference start bubbling up. And before long, those whispers turn into headlines, leaked memos, and intelligence briefings. But what most people don't realize is that this wasn't some organic intelligence operation. This narrative was built deliberately and politically, using a dossier full of unverified claims funded by the Clinton campaign and the Democratic National Committee, funneled through a law firm to a company called Fusion GPS. Fusion GPS hired a former British spy, Christopher Steele, to compile a dossier that would become the backbone of the media frenzy in the FBI investigation. Here's the kicker. Even the FBI knew early on that Steele's sources were weak and the allegations were unverified, yet they still used it to spy on American citizens, namely Trump campaign advisor Carter Page, through FISA warrants obtained using that very same discredited dossier. We're talking about weaponizing the intelligence community to target political opponents. That should terrify every American, regardless of party. Segment 2, Mueller time, and nothing to show. Fast forward to 2017. Special counsel Robert Mueller is appointed to investigate Russian interference and any possible links between the Trump campaign and the Kremlin. For 2 years, this investigation dominated the headlines. The media pushed it like gospel. This is the end for Trump, they'd say. Mueller is coming. People were arrested, not for collusion, but for unrelated tax issues, process crimes, and lying to investigators. The Mueller team, stacked with anti-Trump lawyers, searched every nook and cranny. And after all of it, no evidence of criminal conspiracy, none. Here's the line straight from the report. The investigation did not establish that members of the Trump campaign conspired or coordinated with the Russian government in its election interference activities. But by then, the damage was done. The public had been force-fed lies. A sitting president had been under a political microscope for 2 years based on a false premise. And media outlets, they didn't apologize. They moved on, pretending their role in the hoax never happened. Segment 3. The Durham Report, the final nail. In 2019, after all the chaos, Attorney General Bill Barr appointed John Durham as special counsel to investigate how this entire mess started. His report, released in 2023, confirmed what many already suspected. There was no proper predicate to launch the FBI's Crossfire Hurricane investigation. The FBI ignored contrary evidence and relied heavily on politically funded, unverified intelligence. Key figures, including James Comey, Andrew McCabe, and others, made decisions tainted by political bias. Durham made it clear this was never about national security. This was about using the power of the federal government to sabotage a political outsider who threatened the establishment. And what about accountability? Very little. A couple of low-level agents got slaps on the wrist. The rest? Promoted, rewarded, or given lucrative media gigs. Think about that. Segment 4. Why this matters, and always will. You may be asking, why does this still matter? Because the Russia collusion hoax wasn't just a political dirty trick. It was a full-blown attack on democracy masked as concern for democracy. It eroded public trust in elections, the FBI, and the media. It divided the country. It normalized censorship and surveillance under the guise of national security. And worst of all, it created a blueprint. If they could do this to a sitting president, what could they do to the rest of us? This is about the truth, not just about Trump or Russia, but about the weaponization of institutions that are supposed to be neutral, the media, intelligence agencies, and federal law enforcement. We can't afford to look the other way. We can't shrug it off as just politics, because if we do, we're giving them permission to do it again. And next time, it might not be a president they target. It might be a parent at a school board meeting, a whistleblower, or just someone with the wrong opinion. Final thoughts. So, what's the takeaway? The Russia collusion narrative was a hoax, plain and simple. Not a mistake, not an overreaction, a coordinated political hit job aided by the press and protected by bureaucrats who believed they were above the law. Here at 2 Cents Unfiltered, we don't play that game. We call it like it is, even if it makes people uncomfortable. If we want to restore trust in our institutions, it starts by telling the truth about how that trust was broken in the first place. That's it for today's episode. If you found this valuable, share it, rate it, subscribe, and don't be afraid to speak up, even when the narrative tells you to stay silent. This has been 2 Cents Unfiltered. I'm Carrie, and I'll see you next time, where truth has no filter.